Hi, hope you guys are doing well. We had the chance to sit down and talk to Julian Lewis Jones last Sunday. Julian, of course, plays Boremund Baratheon in House of the Dragon. Sadly, we had some issues with the audio for the very first question, so before we get to the actual interview, here's what I asked him. What was it like seeing House of the Dragon for the very first time? I'm sure you were not allowed to talk about it for months, your involvement in the show, so this must have felt like a relief also, finally being able to talk about the show. He said that yes, this was a lot of pressure. There is just so much interest when it comes to House of the Dragon. If someone mentions something that they're not allowed to talk about, it just spreads like wildfire. But overall, he just really enjoyed being at the world premiere in London. He was really impressed with Miguel Sapochnik's work for the very first episode, and he's a longtime friend of Rhys Ifans, who plays Otto Hightower. They've known each other for over 30 years. We then asked him about the casting process for House of the Dragon, and he actually revealed that he was auditioning for Game of Thrones before. He said that his character would have had a lot of scenes with Sean Bean's Ned Stark, and that is kind of where we start the interview. So here it is.
So it's nice that I eventually became a Baratheon, which is nice, you know.
Yeah, that's definitely the best house. So
maybe you were going for Robert Baratheon. That would have been funny.
I don't think it was a Baratheon. I think it was something else. Then I did an audition then for another part, and I couldn't tell you the name of the character, obviously, because there's been so many characters. But this is what happens, you know, and it's like eventually you'll slot into a character that they think that you're right for, you know, and
right,
and, you know, so yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed the process, really.
I have a question about a particular scene. In the scene where Boremund bends the knee to Rhaenyra, he seemed to hesitate for a moment. Was that intentional? Was this something Ryan Condal or Miguel approached you with that they wanted to emphasize on?
I think we both got that in that sense, because if you go back to the you know, the tournament, you know, the jousting tournament, where I say, you know, the queen who never was, which is very sort of daring, and I could have been harshly dealt with for saying that at that particular moment.
Yeah.
It wasn't, but I think he resents the fact, you know, that Rhaenyra is made, if you like, queen in that sense, that she takes the throne. Yeah, there was you know, that thing that a lot of people picked up on that, and initially when you know, you as an actor, you've got to make choices and decisions yourself, and funny that they've used a photograph of me, you know, with my arms crossed, you know, for one of the posts on House of the Dragon. And that I did that on purpose. Nobody told me to do it, because everyone else had their arms down. And I wanted to show a kind of defiance that I was not happy about the situation. And anyway, when we got to the take, or maybe after a couple of takes or something, Miguel says, you know, maybe that's a little bit too much, you know, because it's such a strong kind of stance. And I understood what he meant. But the intention was there, you know. You can physicalize something, and that stays inside you as an actor without actually having to show it, you know. So I understood what he meant. You know, he just says, maybe that's a bit strong of a gesture. So he was absolutely right, because for you to pick up, there was a hesitancy in me from the, you know, from having that physicality. So Miguel was absolutely spot on, you know. Yeah.
I feel like in my head, I feel like he was hesitant because he was a little angry. He's like, "Oh, Viserys, now you're okay with your daughter being the queen,
Yeah.
even though you very benefited from taking it from my cousin Rhaenys, who should have been."
It's a
Yeah,
why
Yeah.
are you making, your daughter a kid, a child,
yeah,
why bestowing that honor on her when Rhaenys should have been queen,
right.
and I think that's where it lies, really, so
Yeah,
I think that carries on that kind of feeling of a child, really, in this
yeah.
position of power, and why that happened.
So, yeah, the next question is, what was it like to work with Milly Alcock and Fabien Frankel?
They're great, they're much younger than me. They're probably half my age. I knew I didn't I hadn't met Fabien before, but I knew his work because he did a fantastic series called The Serpent. I don't know if you've seen it. It was
I haven't seen it, no.
It was about the hippie trail in the 70s. About I forget the name of he was a serial killer. They went to Thailand and everything like this. I forget the name of the serial killer, but he was a very important character. And Fabien, I think either his mother or father are French. Speaks fluent French, right? So
Yeah.
he was
Oh,
French
wow.
in the series, and he was fantastic in it. So when we first met, we talked about that, and so I knew his work. I knew how good an actor he was. And then Milly, I'd never met before, but she's great. She's Australian. Her accent and everything was spot on, and she just has this amazing look. Milly's 22, I think. Maybe she might be going on for 23 now.
Yeah.
But she looks, like a teenage queen. She
Yeah.
has a
Yeah.
quality to, that she's able to pull that off, and it was great. We shot a scene in Storm's End, and where she's sitting on my throne, which yeah, that was another bone of contention. But yeah, that scene took I don't know how many takes we did. A lot. We did a lot of takes. Not that we were doing anything wrong, but we need coverage. The directors, the producers need coverage of scenes, and so we did a lot of takes. But no, they were great, and there was like on set there was like this great atmosphere. Everyone's together, and I was really impressed with that. It's the closest thing I think I've been to on a picture, a movie, or a TV, where it's like theatre. So everyone's together, like in a green room, and we're all waiting for our bits, and everyone talks, and you have a cup of tea or whatever, and so it had like a real feeling of theatre, of like camaraderie, and like that's your family on set, and it was great. It was really welcoming and chilled out, really chilled out. Nobody
Which
was
is
like their trailers or stuff, Sometimes that happens on set, on a movie or something. Everyone goes back to their trailer, so nobody really mixes with each other off camera. Just go in and do your scenes, and then you come back to your trailer. But that was different. The way they did it was really good, because we were able to sort of bond with each other, which was great.
I'd say let's go for the fan questions next, George. Let's scrap the next two because I want to definitely get to the fan questions so they get them answered.
Yeah.
Um,
So, Guy Reviews asks, how did you prepare for your role?
Well, even though it's so minimal on screen, I had to have horse riding lessons because I'm, jousting. I won't tell you how much jousting I did, but I had to be comfortable on a horse, and they gave so many of the lessons, which was fantastic. I've been on a horse before, but and so that was probably the biggest, preparation that I did was learning to ride a horse. Excuse me.
No worries.
Yeah, and the rest really was grow your hair, grow a beard, turn up, know your lines, hit your marks. But the only kind of really cool thing was learning to ride a horse and being comfortable on a horse.
All right. So the next question comes from the Grease Goblins. What's it like being in the best house?
What's it like being in the best house? I like this question. Pretty awesome. Awesome, really. The Baratheons have such a massive fan base, as you guys well know.
Yeah.
But and there have been obviously some fantastic actors who have portrayed Baratheon. So it was a real honor to be a Baratheon in the, if you like, the next installment or the prequel to the installment, if you like. I can't tell you what happens because I'd be shot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I'm a Baratheon in the biggest thing on the planet at the moment, so which is very cool.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So the Dragon Demands asked, why did Rhaenys call Boremund cousin when in the source material he is her uncle? Did she more broadly refer to cousin of the royal blood, or was this a change?
If you want the honest answer, I don't know. I don't. Okay. I'm not gonna bullshit you. I don't know.
Yeah.
That I'm probably not the right person to ask. If you can get hold of this, then ask them, because seriously, I don't know. I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
Might just be
in my
change.
head. I feel like it. Yeah. I feel like if Boremund is Rhaenys' uncle, they would not allow him on a horse. He will be quite old.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Yeah. Because Eve, who plays Rhaenys, and myself, we're not that dissimilar in age.
Yeah.
So
plus, in the source material, your character is the half brother of the old king we see in the very first episode in the intro.
There is stuff. There are changes that are made from page to screen, and
100%.
I'm not involved in that process, so I don't know why that is.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised how few changes there are. It's very loyal to the source material.
Yeah. I mean, you guys know it better than I do. So,
Yeah.
I'm the actor who portrays Boremund Baratheon, and and that's it. Really.
Yeah. Boremund's cool.
All right. Next question. What surprised you the most about being in the show? That comes from Lizzie Bennett.
I think the enormity of it, the scale of it. I mean, like I said, I've done big movies. I've done Justice League and Invictus, and The Eagle and Zero Dark 30, and a few big Hollywood movies. But this is not like TV. Let me tell you that much. House of the Dragon is like movies. It's not like TV. Just because it's on a streaming platform, on I forget the right. Is that streaming? Is that right for the word for it? Or
Yeah, and it's on HBO Max and Sky.
Exactly.
UK and Europe.
But I think they're still on cable as well.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's what I'm trying to say is that
Yeah.
this is not normal television. It's
Yeah.
like big budget Hollywood movies. The time taken, the attention to detail, the craft involved, the scale of it, the logistical scale of it is huge, absolutely huge. We shot a scene, for the funeral pyre, for the mother and the baby. That we shot that in one day, but we shot it down in Devon, in a place very close to a place called Hartland Point, and then over the water you can see Lundy Island, right? And that I know that area well because I fish a lot. I have fished underneath those filmed. But to get to that cliff, to get to that location was, wow, the logistical kind of nightmare it must have been to get hundreds of people down there. Not just actors, but crew, catering, everything. We had like a huge base, which was up in a farm, up in Clovelly. And then that was like a massive base. And then you get to another base then. And then from that base, they take you on quad bikes, tractors, 4x4 off-road vehicles. Everything then is to get to this location. And that was for one scene. And that's not normal television.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's big budget Hollywood. That's
Yeah.
and that shows to you and to an audience the amount of care and just how much they think about the show. That's how much it means when you have one scene like that to do, and the hundreds of people, and the time, of locations and everything like that, researching, it's huge, absolutely huge. And when you see it back, and I thought, oh my God, yeah, I can see why they chose that location. Because it's an amazing scene. So yeah.
Yeah, one comment, since you mentioned Zero Dark 30. I don't know if Ricky knows what I'm about to say.
No idea.
Since you were on Zero Dark 30, Stephen Delane was also on Zero Dark 30, who plays Stannis.
Yes. Yeah, the Baratheons are. Yeah.
The Baratheons.
Here's the Baratheons.
Oh,
Here's
hell
the
yeah.
Baratheons.
Cheers to the Baratheons, brother.
Yeah.
So do you have any funny memories from set?
Funny memories from set.
Yeah.
I suppose, if you like, it is quite funny. But during a time when we were filming the tournament was the European football championships, right?
Okay.
So we were all in one of these big marquees, which we call the green room, and we're all there in our costumes, because that's where we'd get sort of the kind of final dress, and stuff like this. And Matt Smith would go off and do his scenes, his fighting with Fabien and stuff like this, and they'd come back, and then we'd all have chairs, and then the football would be on the TV, and a few of the boys, especially Matt, he's a very good footballer. And
really?
Yeah. He actually had trials with, I think it was Leicester.
Oh wow.
But yeah, he could have been a footballer. And anyway, so they a couple of the boys, they're big England supporters. I support Wales. But anyway, we were all sat around the TV. They put a TV screen room for us, and we're all there in our armor and all kinds of shit, watching the football. And I have this lovely photograph of us all kind of sitting in these chairs in full costume, watching the football on TV, and it just, but lovely, weird, but lovely.
Different kind of public viewing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, the next question comes from Sebastian Moffat. Have you read anything A Song of Ice and Fire related before you got cast in the role or after?
No.
Okay.
No.
It makes sense.
It's
they're too thick.
No, it's not something that I probably. I don't tend to read much fiction, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
If I'm not working, I'm very sort of outdoors, like I like my fishing, I like my rugby. Acting is my job. I love to portray characters and push myself to play different parts and everything. But away from that, I'm very much a sort of outdoors kind of person, and fishing and rugby really is my passions, and I could tell you more about that than anything else.
Yeah. And plus, I think sometimes, especially if the show decides to expand on certain characters and then you have a different character, it might be more confusing to the portrayal if you have the two versions in the head.
I think, at the end of the day, you just have to play the truth of that. Don't bring any baggage or any kind of preconceived ideas or anything to it. Just be the person in that moment. If you do too much research or too much, like background stuff and everything, that's going to confuse the hell out of you.
Yeah.
Because you might turn up on set and they want you to play it this way or that way. You just have to sort of go in there as a blank piece of paper, and kind of like you play that as it is there. And so no, I didn't know anything before. No.
Yeah. So next question, how realistic was the sets? Do you feel like you're transported to medieval times?
That's by Jesus We, by the way. Let's skip the names in here as well.
Yeah. I mean, they have these huge sound stages, sets in Warner Brothers, in London, and they are amazing, absolutely amazing. The scale of them, and like the attention to detail. When we did the throne scene, I mean, yeah, it was incredible. That throne, with all those swords, and it's like, it's nuts. But when you see it back, and you watch it, and you go, God, this is good. It's like, yeah, they're quite amazing. The crew that build the sets. There's a lot of skill and and hard work that goes into it. So yeah, it was fantastic. When you're there, they put a little bit of green screen, I think, after or whatever, but the actual sets, I've done a lot of theatre in the past, and you kind of dream about having a set like that on a play. It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, the sets were great, and it was not difficult to kind of imagine that you were there at that time.
Yeah. All right, the next one is coming from Iron Blood. Who has been your favorite cast member to work with?
Favorite cast member to work with? Well, it in a way, I mean, I was like, I was with quite a few of the cast. I mean, I loved the time I had with Milly and Fabien, but then also, when we were doing the tournament and stuff like this, we were all together, all of us, all the main cast. So, I was supposed to take all the guys fishing.
Okay.
But they changed it.
Yeah.
So when we were down, I think down in Cornwall or something like that, I was going to take them fishing. So Paddy was going to come fishing. Steve was going to come fishing. Rhys, Gavin, Fabien. I think there was probably about 6 of us that were going to go fishing. But unfortunately, it never happened. But yeah, I spent quite a bit of time with Gavin. He's a great guy, very funny. And yeah, Fabien and Matt and Rhys and Eve was great. I brought them. I think quite a few of them had. I make my own cider at home, so I brought them some cider from my garden. From the apples from my garden rather, and some fish as well. I think, because I catch and cook fish and stuff. So that's
yeah.
Kind of, but no, we had a good laugh, and also an old friend of mine, Stefan Rodri, who plays Rhys's brother. Hightower. What's his first name?
Hobart.
Hobart. Yeah. So Stefan and me, we have been friends a long time. We've done a lot of theatre together. Yeah. So I will send you a picture of Stefan and me when we were filming the throne scene, with little mini fans because it was so hot. We were wearing these robes and we were sweating so badly. So the makeup department gave us these little fans to keep cool. Because up above, you see the chandeliers with the fire. That's real fire. Yeah. Okay.
All right. I will
you guys
put
were getting cooked.
Yeah, we would and obviously when the cameras turn, you can't be sweating. So you're mopping your face and they give you these little fans. So I'll send you that picture.
Thank you. I'll put it into the podcast. I'll make sure to use it.
Please use it. But Stefan is I went and had lunch with Stefan last week. He lives in London, but he's got a place that he's from Swansea originally. So we're all friends, and so on that day we filming the throne scene. I spent a lot of time with my old friend Stefan, who's also Welsh, and whose also first language is Welsh. So when we were so in that first episode, and you've got another Welsh actor called Rhys Parry Jones, who plays the announcer, the tournament announcer.
Okay.
And Rhys is another Rhys, and his first language is Welsh. So there were 4 of us in that episode whose first language was Welsh. So they called us the Tafia, So you'll have to research that one. Look up Tafia.
Who knew that House Baratheon was so close to the High Towers? That's 2 now.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're in on the conspiracy.
Oh yeah. You can work kinds of things now. Yeah. Who knew?
Well, what is the most impressive thing about working on a big show like House of the Dragon by Xavi?
I think, I think I touched on it before. It's a massive show, right? Like I say, it's not like normal TV. It's like doing big Hollywood movies. That's the scale of it. But when you're working on the show, there's a real nice atmosphere about it, and they created, the team behind it, the producers, the directors, they create that atmosphere of like, I loved it, the fact that we were all together, like we didn't all go off to our trailers and stuff like this. I like that because that's more like theatre, and you have a lot of actors in the show who have done a lot of theatre.
Do you have any advice? I'm
Yeah.
actually gonna play in a theater play. I'm gonna start in a theater play for the very first time ever. Do you have any advice for a newbie?
Are you acting in a play?
Yeah.
What's the play?
Medieval. It's about the Landshut wedding, about my hometown.
Right. Okay. Well, I don't know the subject, but enjoy it. Do you have a rehearsal process of how long?
2 months.
So enjoy it. Enjoy. If you've got 2 months, explore. And what I would say is, don't be afraid to try stuff, because don't try something you'll never know. Don't be fearless. Be fearless. Try things. If it doesn't work, okay, it doesn't work, but it might work, and it might be amazing what you do. It might be, oh my God, yeah, I love that. So be fearless. Be fearless.
Thank you. All right, I will definitely try. It's
Okay.
very, very new, but we shall see how it goes.
Well, I wish you the best.
Thank you. The next question is by John Dinobuff. How would Boremund feel if he were to know that his descendants would ultimately bring the Targaryen dynasty down?
I think he'd be very happy.
Let's go. That's what I wanted to hear. Perfect.
Yeah. I'm very proud of them.
Yeah.
I think it starts with that hesitation, and then builds from there. So, yeah. I do. I won't tell you, okay, because I can't. So, all right.
We know.
All right. Constantine Films asks, considering the secretive nature of the production, was analyzing your script before shooting more challenging than usual?
Yes and no. Yes, because as an actor, you want to know everything. But sometimes, like I touched on before, it can be a hindrance, and you play some kind of history that maybe shouldn't be there, and you should just play the moment. It's about being truthful in the moment. So if you're trying to play something that is, we don't go around in our lives kind of thinking, this happened to me 7 years ago, or to my brother. Or I'm gonna remember that this line. No. We kind of play what's in front of us in that moment.
Right.
So I think in a lot of ways it works both ways. It's good to have prior knowledge of stuff, but don't play the past, play the present.
That's good.
Well, and then our very last question for today comes from Betrayed King. As a viewer, are you on Team Blacks or Team Greens?
Oh gosh. I'll go with Team Green.
Edgy.
Team Green. Interesting.
That is all we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us today, Julian. It was a real pleasure to hear you talk about the show. We're huge fans and wish you nothing but the best for the future.
Thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure.